Arms Warrior. It's been bad.
No more Arms Warriors. It's a leg day only.
So I can't help but feel like Method Black definitely won this mind game. I feel like Swapsy's going to be a really durable target. They can go after Waz, keep a lot of pressure on him, potentially take him down. I know as a Windwalker Monk, the Fury Warrior, significant amount of damage to you. It's going to be up to Waz to make sure he's doing a really good job with that Turbo Fist to avoid damage. But it looks like early on, the boys going to be getting a double life sweep, looking for some pressure. Gorecki moving in, lands a full Cyclone, and now Waz could be in some trouble.
Waz getting chopped up early on by both Smexen and Chun-Li. Touch of Karma immediately forced. Now Method Black, they counter-attack. Two members of the boys are low on health. Smexen in trouble. Is he just going to go down? This is so early on to be going down. Heroic Leap able to stay alive, but cooldowns overlapped and Method Black have an opening.
Yep, Swapsy now under fire, a little bit of pressure. You can see Chun-Li and Smexen getting a lot of damage rolling. Gorecki able to recover from that opener, which was a little bit scary. Chun-Li did manage to hold on to the Touch of Karma, whereas Waz, he does not have that same luxury. If he gets caught into a stun, some burst, they might be able to take him down.
All right, let's see if they can do it here. Can the boys set up? Surprising composition selection here from both sides. If Method Black were anticipating a Destruction Warlock maybe with this, I don't think they were anticipating the Fury Warrior, maybe a Windwalker Death Knight. It's similar play style though. We see Gorecki crowd controlled for an extended period of time and Chun-Li's in trouble. He is the monk that never dies though and is able to just get through that quite easily. Double leg sweep. Once again, Smexen leaping over, Waz retreats away. Chaz sitting through a bash. Swapsy gets swapped to. No defense. Chaz sits through Cyclone. Swapsy, what are you going to do? He's on the run. He is playing that Dark Iron Dwarf, able to use the Fire Blood to remove that Gladiator's Maledict. Potentially a second incoming. Chaz has a lot of work ahead of him with no Iron Bark, but Chun-Li is getting blasted. He's on the run. Waz in hot pursuit. Touch of Karma, just in time for Chun-Li, but Touch of Death available for Waz. That could be deadly for Chun-Li.
Yeah, definitely. Chun-Li could be in some trouble. Nice Cyclone coming in from Chaz. That denies any of Gorecki's healing as well as that powered healing from Iron Bark. Fist of Fury, Turbo Fist, going to be what keeps Chun-Li alive for now, but there's the Touch of Death. They're looking to go all in. How is Chun-Li going to survive evasive maneuvers? Trying to get behind the pillar. Ring of Peace denies Waz any follow-up damage. Chun-Li weathers the storm. The boys stabilize. What a scary moment.
All right, what are you going to do, Chun-Li? You're the monk that never dies, or at least we've talked you up to be that. Can you pull it off here with such limited defense? Mana burning down. Waz gets set up on his Chaz crowd control. Pre-Iron Bark. Is that going to be enough? They're chopping through it. Turbo Fist from Waz. That Honor talent makes Fist of Fury parry incoming attacks. Super effective against both a Fury Warrior and a Windwalker. So Waz activating that to avoid damage. Not so much so to deal damage in that position. And that's what we see from the top level Windwalkers with their Fist of Fury, having to bounce between both offensive and defensive usage. Waz trying to connect, but Chun-Li is just avoiding Waz. And can Waz step up to the same peak of Windwalker as Chun-Li?
He's going to have to get onto the peak of Serenity. We'll have to see. Smexen now into a clone, interrupt onto Gorecki. If we look at mana, the boys have a massive advantage. Chun-Li committing that Touch of Death. Looking for a little bit of damage here on the Swapsy. Chaz looking for a potential drink in this situation. Gorecki looking to shut that down. If he can move in, land a stun into a Cyclone, Swapsy and Waz could be in a little bit of trouble. Chaz now sitting down for a drink. Gorecki has to stop it. If he can stabilize his mana, things are going to be looking good for Method Black.
Well, Gorecki actually still has a significant lead. Chun-Li pre-diffuse magics the incoming damage. Still, his Gladiator Safeguard Shield is going to proc. Both teams in trouble. It's definitely a fast-paced match between these compositions. It was not a matchup that I was expecting at all to see throughout the tournament, so this is a nice treat. Even though we've had such a long day, there's still surprises in this final best of 5 in the upper bracket between Method Black and the boys.
Yep, Waz caught into a full leg sweep. Huge burst damage. It's getting lower. Touch of Karma traded out by both Windwalker monks. Could be a race to the finish. Iron Bark used by both Druids as well. These two teams going toe-to-toe very early on. See Chaz moving in, lands a bash on Gorecki. Chun-Li could be in some trouble as he uses that Transcendence to get behind the pillar. Vivify spam coming in, Lightning Lasso gets interrupted. Nice rake stun there by Gorecki to deny a lot of that damage Swapsy really had. And you can see Chaz under fire. Good swap here from Smexen and Chun-Li.
I know Adrian's excited to see this Windwalker Fury Warrior as he's been playing it with Joe Fernandez quite a lot in his free time. It's an especially powerful composition, and the boys are the only team to really break it out in the tournament stage. Chun-Li, he gets caught, 5 seconds away. Gorecki's interrupted. Will he be able to hold out? Touch of Death is about to tick. Chun-Li, can you do it? Are you the monk that never dies? Looks like it's going to be the case as he is bounced back to full health. Now he can counter-aggress potentially. Waz is in a bit of trouble. Chaz starts to stabilize. The boys still have a lead. We're not even into dampening.
Yeah, not into dampening. Chun-Li Caught into a Cyclone. He's going to be getting out of that. Once again, looking for some pressure onto Chaz. He's caught into a full leg sweep. Barskin does trade out, and I think he will be able to survive off of the back of that. We have just entered Dampening. Good off heals there by Swapsy. There needs to be a control on Swapsy when they make these swaps onto Chaz. Otherwise, it's just much too easy for him to throw off some off heals and keep his Druid alive.
All right, let's see if they can pull it off. Chaz totally tapped on mana. He needs to find a drink now, and I don't know if he's going to get that opportunity. Smexon gets swapped to. Big lightning lasso. They're not even going to trade cooldowns for that. A bit of disrespect from the boys here in game number 1 towards Method Black. There are really no openings now for them unless Chaz can find a drink, and he is sneaking across the map. Will he be able to find a drink? He's running laps at this point in cat farm, watching him like a little NASCAR trying to find any little place to find a drink, but Waz is in trouble. Touch of Karma barely stabilizes. Chaz got maybe 1 tick of mana for Touch of Karma. That's not a good trade, although it is starting to even out. It's anyone's match.
Yeah, double fear onto Swapsy into a hibernate. He trinkets out, uses a tremor totem. There's a paralysis onto Chaz. Waz could be in some trouble. Chun-Li turning his attention over onto Swapsy. The boys have pressure on multiple fronts. Anyone could fall at this moment, but a nice triple crowd control stun on Chun-Li, paralysis on Gorecki, lightning lasso on Smexon. Nicely done by Method Black to reverse the pressure. Chun-Li forced to trade out that Touch of Karma, but a double leg sweep is going to allow the boys to get some huge pressure on the Waz. Really well done here from the boys, but Smexon is low on health as well. Still a slight lead for the boys. Pre-Ironbark on the bash, well done by Chaz here as it's a battle between North America and Europe all day. Will North America be able to make it an all North American affair in the upper bracket? If the boys can take this series, it will be the case. Swapsy and Waz are in so much trouble. Chaz has nothing. 20 seconds away and still crowd controlled. Swapsy on the run. He's running for his life. Gorecki jumps into the fight to take him out, but that's not even enough. Swapsy stays alive, but now Waz gets swapped too. He's in trouble. How is he going to get out of this situation? Able to flying serpent kick, potentially to safety. Swapsy is trying to sneak in a hex. Chaz gets swapped to by Smexon, creating pressure on multiple fronts. Will they be able to push him over? No, he's forced back, not able to stay on target, but both Druids, they're totally tapped on mana. Chaz sits down for a drink. Where's the denial? This is really scary. Nice Ring of Peace there by Chun-Li. Smexon leaps over as well, looking to get some damage rolling onto Chaz. Innervate's rolling. If they can deny that Innervate, it's going to be huge, but looks like he will get full value. Now a nice little swap over onto Chaz. Barskin is used, but he doesn't have a trinket. Very scary moment. Swapsy trying to keep him alive. Can he keep him alive through this bash? Does manage to do so. Gorecki with a nice Cyclone, though, will deny any of the incoming healing from Chaz, freezing his HP a little bit low.
All right, can they do it here? The Black have managed to hold on, battling it out to the bitter end. Gorecki, how much mana are you going to get? Where is it? Waz portal's over. I'm waiting to see Gorecki. If he got a lead here, nope, still tie, but Innervate available at least. He can bounce his team back, spend a lot of expensive heals. Chaz is in trouble. The boys have been going after him, trying to pressure down there, realizing that the Ghost Wolf build that Swapsy is running with the Pack Spirit might be too slippery to take down, so go after Waz and Chaz instead. Chaz is in stealth, once again sneaking to find a drink, but the longer he spends in stealth, the lower his team's health. How will they be able to take victory and find all that wealth?
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. There's a paralysis onto Chaz. Touch of Death gets used by Chun-Li. Huge damage on Waz as the boys looking to put the first point on the board, taking down Waz and Method Black.
A spot, and that spot is on the line in this tournament this weekend. We're on our final best of 5 between Method Black and the boys. The surprising composition, the Windwalker Fury Warrior, appears to have Method Black's number. Method Black taking that Mage Warlock from Cloud9 and trying to say, yoinks, now it's mine. Let's see if they can pull it off, though. It's one thing to lock in the composition. It's an entirely different one to actually execute.
Yeah, and like you kind of mentioned, Sid, Smexon on that Fury Warrior. Traditionally, the Frost Mage is the bane of Warrior, but Fury, it is not as susceptible to snares as the Arms Warrior normally is. Chun-Li taking a lot of pressure early on. Is he going to trade out the Touch of Karma? He already has. There's Diffuse Magic, Fortifying Brew, Touch of Karma, Iron Bark from the boys. Great pressure here from Method Black. Chun-Li might have to start playing a little bit more defensive.
All right, let's see what they can get done. I mean, that's an explosive start for Method Black, and Chun-Li might just actually go down in the fastest game we've ever seen in the tournament today. He's Cyclone at 10% health. There's really no defense. And once again, Chun-Li proves us all wrong. He's just the monk that never dies, can't die, can't count him out. Now leading the charge over towards Raikou. Swapsy trying to counter pressure. Gorecki out midfield. He's getting targeted down currently by Method Black. Mana being burned rapidly on both sides.
Yeah, when you look at these two matchups, or these two teams go head-to-head, when Method Black has their offensive cooldowns ready, when they have the Dark Soul, the Infernals, the Icy Veins, that's when Method Black will have an edge in this matchup. Outside of those cooldowns, with the amount of uptime Smexen and Chun-Li will have onto Raikou, that is really when the boys can start shining, start getting some momentum and pressure, and that's when it's not nearly as scary for them to stay in the open for extended periods of time.
All right, we'll see what they can get done here. Chaz, he is going to take the time to regenerate some mana in the back line, and on Tolvaron, or on Ashmane's fall, with the composition, it should be a lot easier for him to drink and build a lead that way. Greki is Cycloned, who's going to be the target. Smexen is, but he brings a lot of self-healing and support on that Fury Warrior as well as mobility, so he is not likely to be an easy kill target whatsoever, and this could be revenge of the Warriors as Arms Warrior with the 0% win rate getting kited by Frost Mages every single tournament, and all they had to do was respec Fury and start running them down, so potentially an opportunity here for the boys. This composition is looking solid so far.
Easier said than done. Yeah, just respec Fury and run them all down. I think for the boys, I mean, their strategy could be good, but we'll have to see if it actually works out for them. Like we kind of said, it seemed like the boys were happy with the particular matchup that Method Black gave them in game number 2. We'll have to see if they actually end up getting a win. Touch of Death is committed. Raikou caught into a rake stun. He trinkets out, trying to kite away. He's actually not playing the Temporal Shield, so doesn't have that key mage defensive cooldown. I think he's opted for the Kleptomania instead, so that is basically a talent that empowers your spell steal, and he can remove all the heal over time effects Gareki really has available. So they get crowd control in Gareki, he uses the spell steal with Kleptomania. All of a sudden, Chun-Li and Smexen become great targets for them to start really putting pressure on.
Double Shadow Fury for Swapsy, trying to take some pages out of Chanimal's book there. Not able to find any burst though. Raikou has not had any opportunities to breathe. Chun-Li right on top of him, Smexen charging over. Chaz is stunned up. No crowd control to follow it up, but may not even be necessary. Iron Bark, is that going to be enough? Looks like it's going to be enough. Raikou bounces back to full health. Chun-Li on the run again, and I'm wondering if Chun-Li can go this entire tournament. I'm not going to say it anymore because he might just die right now. He's bursted, and Chun-Li is now no longer the monk that can never die. Method Black take game 2.
What were you going to say before you died?
I was about to say is Chun-Li
that they want, despite losing on Nagran. I'm not really sure how to feel about that. I feel like the boys have the edge in this matchup.
It could just be that going into a matchup blind, Method Black feels like overall this is the best composition that they have. I mean, I still feel like in theory it could easily win against what the boys are bringing. All 3 members are relatively durable. It ended up coming down to mana, I believe, in the last matchup. So if the boys can extend it, and potentially they could win on mana, but Method Black will have some opportunities in this match to definitely close it out.
It's going to be difficult to predict. However, there's one thing that is certain on Dalaran Sewers. It's incredibly difficult to drink, and as Restoration Druids are the most thirsty healer, they're going to need to drink as frequently as possible, so drink denial is of utmost importance. We see early pressure on Smexen. We thought he would be an unlikely target, but this is looking devastating.
Yeah, can they take him down? Touch of Death is rolling from Waz. Smexen using that rallying cry in order to survive. But now Fury Walkers, or Fury Warriors, this is when he's going to be able to get out a lot of self-healing. Yeah, potentially, but the self-healing of the Fury Warrior is going to be quite high, so they can maybe take him down in these triple Maledict pushes, denying some of that Fury Warrior healing, but outside of that, I feel like Smexen's going to be able to keep himself stable.
I think we have to name this composition, although maybe Healing Stat wants to, because he's kind of playing it a lot before the boys, honestly, on the ladder, but if you've got a name for this, type it in the chat. The composition the boys are playing, we don't see it ever. Windwalker, Fury Warrior, Restoration Druid. Gareki under fire down at half health here as he gets swapped to by Waz. Is swapped again? What is happening right now? Gareki is getting owned by Waz. Gareki manages to sneak away, at least to recover very far away from the fight, but now that he's far away, we could see Method Black go after a different target, and that looks to be Smexen, but Smexen secures a triple fear. Denies the Tremor Totem as a result of hitting Swapsy as well with it, but not able to find any cooldowns off the back of that crowd control, unfortunately.
Yep, this is a very tense situation for both of these teams. Neither one of them want to go down to that lower bracket, potentially face elimination tomorrow. And you can know Cloud9 is waiting in the upper bracket, waiting to see who their opponent is going to be. Tomorrow, we can see Waz already down to around 50% health. He has a lot of defensive cooldowns at this point that he could rotate through. If we look at mana, Chaz once again behind, and I really feel like that's off the back of the boys just hitting multiple targets. They do a go onto Waz, force Chaz to put heal over time effects on him, then go over onto Swapsy, force Chaz to heal there, and then they make a swap onto Chaz, and just becomes really taxing on the mana of Chaz in order to keep all 3 members up.
Waz low on health, trying to hold out without using that touch of karma, but it's costing Chaz a lot of mana, and now he's cycloned. Turbo Fists parrying some incoming attacks, and he does begin to stabilize. Smexon now falling behind on the back foot. Chaz is the one falling behind on mana, though. The boys are establishing the same lead that they did in game number 1 against Method Black in this matchup, and it's not looking good for Method Black overall. Fortunately, they will be able to rely on going to a large map with that Wizard Cleave composition should they need to. Smexon getting damaged heavily here. Grecki crowd control, Chun-Li locked down as well. Smexon disrespecting the space, but with Ironbark now should stabilize. Method Black likely to switch their attention to Chun-Li now. Trying to pressure 2 targets, a smart strategy against the Restoration Druid. Chaz realizing he needs to drink and regenerate mana. Has escaped far across the map. Grecki and Smexon leaping over to deny. How much did he get? As soon as he comes out of bear form, we will find out. Currently cycloned. Chun-Li getting bursted. Grecki coming back, able to heal him. Swapsy kiting away. Mana slowly evened out. Nice paralysis on the Innervate there. Denying some of the free healing that Chaz can get from that. Activating the Tranquility only for 1 second to apply an extra heal over time effect, and then that boosts the healing through the Restoration Druid's Mastery. So Tranquility is not that powerful in 3 versus 3 combat. In a raid it is, but in player versus player, it's a smart decision to do what Chaz did there. Innervate makes it free, get an extra heal over time effect, and Grecki gets swapped to and bursted. He gets completely devastated here from Method Black as they try to pull off a miracle. This is a swing match. The boys cannot afford to lose this map.
Yeah, nice double ice sweep coming in from Chun-Li. Can they get any pressure roll? They do manage to get out the Astral Shift as well as the Ironbark. Method Black going to be a little bit vulnerable here, but like you said, Grecki in that last exchange, that was a nice swap from Method Black. It's a leg sweep into a Lightning Lasso, and they got a lot of the defensive cooldowns Grecki really has available. Now Rake's done, over onto Chaz. Grecki trying to play aggressive, not able to find the follow-up Cyclone, unfortunately. Swapsy was there to deny. I'll have to see what the boys are going to be looking to do. Full leg sweep on a Grecki. Waz just getting some crowd control out as it looks like they still want to take down Chun-Li.
This has been North America versus EU the entire day, and we are down to the final best of 5. If the boys can pull this off, it's going to be North America in the upper bracket, and Europe will have to battle it back. Will they be able to manage to get to the grand finals? A BlizzCon spot is on the line. $50,000 first place prize on the line between these 2 teams, as well as potential qualifications for other teams, as the winner of this, when they qualify, all the points that they have earned throughout season play are no longer applicable, which means if you're a second seeded team in terms of points, you may qualify through points. Everything on the line for each other's regions in this tournament today, and you do not want to go anywhere until it's over.
Yeah, definitely not. Waz having to trade out the Touch of Karma. Could be in a little bit of trouble. There's a full paralysis onto Chaz, and once again, the boys have a massive mana lead in this matchup, but a nice attempt on a Smexon. Like I said, Smexon could be a great target for Method Black to go after. If they can coordinate their Maledic trinkets, they could deny a lot of the self-healing that Smexon has. You get crowd control on Grecki, you throw a Maledic onto Smexon, then all of a sudden that main strength becomes sort of a weakness for Smexon. He can't heal himself up, but that's only going to be in those short windows when they do have that trinket up.
All right, mana still in favor of the boys as Dampening has begun, and that will reduce healing at the top of your screen, that red number. As it gets higher, healing gets lower, and if healing gets lower, probably going to die. Things are getting dangerous here for Method Black as the boys are looking to push forward, advance to match point. Touch of Death available. Chun-Li at any moment is just going to start firing on all cylinders. Waz trying to prepare for it. Fists of Fury denying some bursts. They're trying to force Chun-Li back and retreat, but he is not going anywhere. Touch of Karma. He's going for an all-in with the Touch of Death combo together. Crowd control on the entire team of Method Black. Disrespect that Astral Shift a couple seconds late. Needs to be enough to soak up the Touch of Death. Looks like it's going to be enough, but Chaz has to spend so much mana. 2 members on the team so low. Innervate just in time. That means Chaz's spells are free. He's getting huge heals for free. High value Innervate from Method Black, and that might be enough to keep them in the fight.
Yeah, definitely going to keep them in the fight. Swapsy gets topped off. Waz looking good as well. Now the pressure turning around onto the boys. Chun-Li getting a little bit low. A beautiful offensive Cyclone coming in from Chaz, freezing up any of the healing Grecki has available. Chaz switches the crowd control onto Grecki, looking for a bash, but Chun-Li there to defend. Chaz not able to find the Cyclone. Now Smexon still looking to get aggressive, but he's in some trouble. Waz putting out great pressure. There's the Maledic. Smexon forced to leap away. Grecki has a little bit of catch-up to do right now, but Waz now vulnerable as the boys looking to reverse the pressure.
All right, can the boys pull it off and advance to match point? Will Method Black steal it away from them here in game number 3? Hibernate snuck in there. Tremor Totem, though, from Swapsy is going to break it out, but Tremor Totem now won't be available for intimidating shots. Cyclone from Gorecki, but Chun-Li's in trouble. Gorecki spent so much time crowd controlling and not really enough time healing. Chun-Li's low on health, managed to stay alive. Now charging forward to take out Waz. What's Waz going to do? Chaz is crowd controlled still. Swapsy is low. Mana's almost tapped on both sides. Gorecki now in crowd control. Chun-Li could be in trouble. Which Windwalker's going to fall? Crackling Jade Lightning knocks Waz off the side. Chun-Li doesn't seem to care. Ring of Peace into a spear hand strike on the Lightning Lasso. Chun-Li breaking up huge amounts of damage. Top tier play from both sides.
Yeah, Chun-Li, though, is the one that's in a lot of trouble. Now Touch of Karma's been committed. Looking to run down Swapsy at this point. Chaz has no mana left. If the boys can keep up this pressure, Method Black could easily fall, but Chun-Li is just so vulnerable. Double Fear coming in, Swapsy trinkets out. Chun-Li having to kite away. It's going to be evasive maneuvers once again. Can Gorecki keep him alive as they look to take down Swapsy in these final moments?
This is coming down to the wire. Look at those mana bars. There's basically nothing left for either side. Look at the dampening. 21% and getting higher. No defense for either Windwalker. Who's going to take it? Can Waz step up to the plate? Big Lightning Lasso here. Chun-Li in trouble, rolling away. Waz in hot pursuit, rolls over, walks into a double stun with Chaz. Fist of Fury flying in. Waz ducks for cover, avoids it. Gorecki gets sheared. Chun-Li on the run, jumping to safety. Is it really that safe though? Touch of Death explodes, barely connects the Swiftman. Cycloned on his trinket. Big trouble for Chun-Li, but somehow, some way, stays in it.
Yeah, he throws his Maledict over onto Swapsy. There's still good pressure here from Smexon onto Swapsy. Swapsy could easily fall. Chaz has no mana left either. 25% dampening. Chun-Li has to be a little bit careful. Now Waz getting swapped! Both Walkers could potentially fall. Chun-Li has to survive. Gorecki does manage to keep him alive. Beautiful kiting there by the boys, by Chun-Li, and it's ultimately Waz that falls.
Shouldn't. I think Swapsy, I mean, he's, one of the best to ever do it, but he also isn't even close to as experienced as someone like Chanimal, especially on this composition.
This is the last series of the day, and the boys can close it out here. They have an uphill battle. Method Black going to have a map that they can just spread out on and hopefully buy themselves some time, wait for their win condition, but the boys going to try to get the upset.
Let's see if they can do it here. It's match point for the boys. Method Black have set themselves up well strategically on Tolvaron Arena, but their positioning is a bit lackluster. You do not want Raikou and Swapsy standing so close to each other. Raikou realizing that is going to Demonic Gateway and start to separate as we see that triangle created with Chaz on the left, Swapsy on the right, and Raikou in the back line. And this is the triangle that they want to look to maintain throughout the fight.
Yeah, Raiku's been doing a really good job. You can look for little outplays from the Frost Mage. When he blinks away, he can try to deny some of the mobility that Chun-Li has on that Windwalker Monk. He can use both the Ice Nova, his Frost Nova, and the Water Elemental Freeze to keep them in place. So if Chun-Li uses his Flying Serpent Kick, he gets an Ice Nova on that. It denies the mobility. Meantime, though, Smexon getting swapped to.
That was interesting attack. Raikou, seemingly out of nowhere, likes to just dish out tons of damage, and I think we will credit Raikou as one of the highest damaging Frost Mages. That's kind of what he likes to talk himself up with. He just loves casting Frost Bolts, and we can see the result of that damage here now with Smexon so low on health and a significant mana lead established already for Method Black. Raikou now getting bursted, caught in the leg sweep. Huge damage. It's match point. You cannot afford to go down without ice blocking. Blinking back to midfield. Trying to give me a bit of a heart attack, but Iron Bark looks like it's going to be enough for Raikou.
Yeah, Raikou, one thing you have to credit Method Black, they definitely know how to play into the Gladiator Safeguard with the Iron Bark. If you have Iron Bark when Safeguard procs, it's really unlikely the boys are going to find the damage to push through that, so I think it's good. Method Black sort of realizing that, not throwing away an Ice Block very early on, which makes it more difficult for the boys to push in. If they get an Ice Block, then Chun-Li can be confident in using the Touch of Karma, the Fortifying Brew, a lot of his defensives offensively to try to close out the game. But when Raiku's just being greedy with those, holding on for a really long time, it sort of makes it more difficult for the boys to want to make those all-in pushes.
Spell Reflects have been beautiful from Smexon on these Chaos Bolts, denying a lot of damage, and they're just continuing to lead the charge. Chaz, the crowd controlled. Gorecki in position, trying to take the game for his team, trying to take the series for his team here, as the boys are on match point. You can't count them out. Their pressure has been quite insane, but if we look at the mana, Gorecki, that's not too good.
Yeah, there's been a lot of free casted damage from a Destruction Warlock, and that is not a class you want to leave alone. And like we kind of talked about, for Swapsy, when you're playing one of these alternate specializations, when you're being trained down, that's when you're really tested, and you're going to see the difference between a Warlock like Swapsy and a Warlock like Chanimal. But when you're just left open, free casting, that's when it's a lot easier to play these alternate specializations. And I think going after Raikou, they're kind of playing into the favor of Method Black.
All right, let's see what Method Black can get done here. They've already asserted dominance. The map selected was the best decision. Of course, as these teams are top caliber, they've planned out the entire best of 5 to try and carry themselves all of the way, and we are likely to see a Game 5 between these two teams, between North America and Europe. It's been head-to-head the entire day. BlizzCon qualification on the line. $50,000 first place prize on the line. Gorecki getting stunned up. Method Black potentially swapping, not able to find line of sight. However, Gorecki is safely stabilizing behind that pillar. Smexen once again, beautiful spell reflect on the Chaos Bolt. Now they're switching target to Swapsy. Looks like they've given up the chase onto Raikou, but you leave Raikou open, that's going to be a lot of Frost Bolts. Let's see if it's going to be enough. Swapsy's been taking some pretty big hits right now, dropping the Infernals and trying to force them away, but interrupted on the Chaos Bolts. See if they can continue to deny Chaos Bolt. Chaz jumps in but gets clotheslined by Gorecki right on his wild charge. Now Gorecki repositioning to avoid being bashed himself. Good awareness there on his part. Repositioning at a new pillar. Chaz is hunting him down. Ring of Peace into paralysis. Denies the connect, but Smexen is so low. We see a bit of a panic attack from the boys as they overlap defensive cooldowns. Polymorph now secured. Unfortunately breaking prematurely to the Infernal. That's unfortunate for Method Black, but regardless, the mana is already so heavily in their favor.
Yeah, what is Gorecki going to do? I feel like with the way Method Black is playing it, this is looking really good. I mean, they haven't got a single ice block from Raikou at this point in the game. They're going to have to start committing stuff like the Touch of Death if they want to get some of those cooldowns rolling. Chaz just all over Gorecki, just playing on top of him, landing the bash, landing the Cyclone consistently, denying him from getting out of combat and getting drinks. There's a Maledict over onto Chun-Li. Doesn't have the diffused magic, and this is an opportunity for Method Black to start getting aggressive, but it looks like the boys, they're switching their target. They don't want to go after Raikou anymore. They want to start potentially testing Swapsy in this matchup.
All right, let's see what they can get done here. Swapsy, we've probably seen him not have the most amount of Warlock games in the tournament setting, and being pressured by a Fury Warrior and a Windwalker is some of the highest amount of pressure you're really going to feel. So can Swapsy step up to the plate and hit a home run for the team? Get them to a game number 5. But when we get to a game 5, what kind of composition? I mean, the boys are going to select a small map. So if you're Method Black, do you go for a cleave composition of your own and try to go Zug versus Zug with North America? Europe, they like to play with their brains, and NA, they like to play with their fists. So I'm not sure if that's going to be the best decision strategically for Method Black in moving into a game number 5, but it might be their only option.
Yeah, Gorecki was able to sit down for a drink, but at what cost? He needs to be able to keep Smexen alive. Gorecki struggling to catch up right now. He's caught into a bash, into a full Cyclone. He did manage to find the Iron Bark, but no Enrage Regeneration available for Smexen. He has to try to avoid as much damage as possible. Method Black in a commanding position right now, but as Dampening gets higher and higher, that Warlock becomes a juicier and juicier target. It's going to be really difficult for Chaz to actually keep him alive. Unending Resolve trades out on the Touch of Death of Chun-Li, but those cooldowns don't line up. If Chun-Li can wait another 2 minutes for a Touch of Death, Swapsy won't have that same luxury. There won't be another Unending Resolve for another 3 minutes, and that's where the boys can really push in and get aggressive.
All right, let's see what they get done. Gorecki's kept his mana actually up against Chaz. It was such a huge lead early on, but now with Dampening at 10% and continuing to ramp up, potentially the boys just take it. Potentially they just clean this up and make it all a North American affair in the upper brackets. Method Black in the lower bracket? Wildcard Gaming in the lower bracket? Already? The level of competition in this tournament is absolutely insane. We even heard Snuts say it himself. This is the hardest tournament that he has ever played in, and Snuts has been playing for, I mean, a decade, I feel, or longer at this point. So that's some pretty big words from him. And at this point, the teams continue battling out. There is a bit of a moment of opportunity to take out Swapsy. There's no unending resolve. They need to just survive these Infernals, but Chaos Bolt are flying in. Smexen pummels the follow-up. Chun-Li rolls over to support, but Gorecki's in a polymorph. Smexen's all alone. Ray of Frost being channeled. Enrage Regeneration gets soaked up by the Glaire's Maledicts. Big Chaos Bolts race to the finish. Is Iron Bark going to be enough for Swapsy to stay alive and counter-aggress? Smexen has managed to stabilize, back to full health. Swapsy still lobbing out Chaos Bolts. That's going to connect onto Smexen. He's ducking for cover around the corner as Gorecki looks to get back to his side. Now Chun-Li exposed in midfield. Touch of Karma as a Chaos Bolt. That could be a huge opportunity. That Touch of Karma redirected all that Chaos Bolt damage back onto Swapsy. Chaz then has to power through it with mana, which has evened out surprisingly between these two teams.
I think the boys are going for it. Gorecki moving in, lands the bash onto Swapsy. What is Swapsy going to do? Doesn't have much mobility to escape Chun-Li and Smexen. Raikou trying to back him up with polymorph spam. Chaz still no Ironbark for another 5 seconds. If they can get some damage rolling, you can see Chun-Li, he has the Touch of Death rolling in just 2 seconds. If he uses it, it's going to be empowered by that Fortifying Imbrue, which does increase Chun-Li's health, which increases the damage of that Touch of Death. If he decides to use it, it's going to be huge. Devastation. Raikou, though, getting swapped to Smexen, turning his attention there. There's the full leg sweep. This is the final go from the boys.
All right, this is it. Can they pull it off? It's looking solid. Ironbark may not be enough. Swaps are getting crushed. Double Mortal Coil. Shadow Fury buys a couple seconds. Smexen gets polymorphed in desperation by Raikou, but now there's pressure on Raikou as well. Chaz doesn't really have the mana to do it, but somehow, some way is holding out. Raikou trying to retreat. They're on the Demonic Gateway. Raikou's going to take that to safety. Swapsy likely to follow him shortly. Maybe not. He's just going to soak the damage, allow Raikou to free cast in the back line. Chaz is trying to sit down for a drink, regenerate mana. How much is he going to get? Not too much. Gorecki jumped over, but now he's exposed in center field. Maybe they switch. No, they polymorph instead. Chaz gets feared. He trinkets into a paralysis. Big opportunity, but Smexen's bashed up. He's not trinketing out of the full bash. Chaos Bolt flies over. He leaves back onto Swapsy. There's nothing left for 3 more seconds, 5 more seconds, 4 more seconds for Swapsy's Unending Resolve. Can he make it to that point? It's looking good. He's made it. Unending Resolve now available, and Method Black stay in it.
Yeah, the boys just 1 game away from sending Method Black to the lower bracket. There is so much on the line. Tension is high. Swapsy's still low. Gets interrupted. Unending Resolve is available. Will he decide to use it right now? You can see the boys actually have a mana lead in this situation. Things are looking great. The boys have a lot of defensive cooldowns that they can rotate through if they need it. Chaz with no trinket. Now sitting down for a drink. Gorecki trying to deny that. Finds the Vortex. Nice rake stun onto Gorecki into a full Cyclone. Is there going to be any damage to follow it up from Method Black? I don't know. Swapsy just seems to be under too much pressure.
Swapsy, what are you going to do here? 28% dampening. Your healer's totally out of mana. Unending Resolve may not even be enough. Raikou's desperate. He's polymorphing up the damage dealers, trying to get them under control, but even still struggling. Innervate just came up for Chaz. It's the only thing allowing him to continue to heal. He's at least managed to stabilize Swapsy, but really for how much longer? Dampening continues to get higher and higher. Chun-Li now polymorphed up. There's no pressure. All cooldowns available for the boys, and it's looking like it's going to be a North American upper bracket final.
Potentially, but Method Black did manage to stabilize, and Chaz is actually sitting down for a drink right now. Gorecki trying desperately to deny it, but Raikou with good backup with the Ray of Frost. Chaz, he recovered the mana at 32% dampening. This is perfect, but Raikou needs to start getting damage out instead of just spamming out the polymorphs. Chun-Li with the Touch of Death rolling. Swapsy could easily fall. Chaz gets the Ironbark out, but Chun-Li's the one that's in trouble. He's forced to portal away. There's a full intimidating shout coming in from Smexen onto Chaz. Beautiful crowd control from the boys, but right now Chun-Li is just way too vulnerable.
All right, let's see what they can do. Live Lord Chun-Li only going down in 1 game, and we'll happily forget that if he can manage to pull off this somehow, some way, strategically. Method Black should have been able to set up a victory, but the boys keep battling it back and just refuse to die. Ironbark available in 9 more seconds. Icy Veins. Raikou is probably the most deadly player for the next couple seconds. Blinks over, looks for the polymorph, doesn't get it, but they get the Cyclone. Smexen in trouble. Enraged Regeneration. He needs to get some big heals off this, but Dampening's at 37%. Big heals aren't so big at 37% reduction. He's not even going back to full health. Gorecki tries to sit down for a drink. How much mana? He's in stealth. How much mana is he going to get? Frozen Orb hits him, he clips it, but he's 50% mana.
Yeah, this is really good for the boys. Swapsy now with the Dark Soul trying to get aggressive onto Chun-Li. Trades out the Touch of Karma. Paralysis onto Chaz. Right now, Chun-Li trying to carry this game. Get the 3rd point on the board for his team and send Method Black to the lower bracket. But Swapsy does manage to stabilize. This is a very tense game.
Oh no, Chaz, how much mana did he get? He's been spending some time, not that much. Chun-Li in trouble. Mortal Coil. Swapsy tries to close. Chun-Li Transcendence. Ducks around the corner, but Raikou gets a polymorph. Is it going to be enough? Gorecki now gets bashed. He could get swapped to. Cyclone instead. Chun-Li tries to stay alive. Smexen's tanking all the damage in midfield for the team, but how much can he tank? He Spell Reflects 1 Chaos Bolt. Charge pummels the next. Good denial by Smexen, but he gets stunned up. Chun-Li goes for the kill. It's do or die for the boys. If they don't find a kill soon, they're out of cooldowns.
Yeah, and Swapsy doesn't have much healing left. Tries to land a Chaos Bolt on Smexen. Smexen's in a lot of trouble. Down on 10% health. Raikou Q finally takes him down with a beautiful flurry combo.
In the cups didn't look great. We saw Goreki's Mistweaver in the tournament, and we know he's been practicing it because it looked fantastic. Now his chassis test in game number 5, boys versus Method Black.
Yeah, what is going to happen? Looks like Goreki does get Asphyxiate stun. I know this is a matchup that both the boys and Never Lucky have practiced quite a bit, so boys know exactly what they're doing. Goreki has to survive, though. He's already getting run down. So much pressure early on. Chaz also in a lot of trouble. Goreki trades out his way of the crane as well as the Life Cocoon. Both Mistweaver monks. This is the race to the finish.
I mean, we went from what could be the longest games, could be what is going to be the quickest games. This is a healer race, and Goreki, he's falling so far behind. Huge damage, multiple stuns incoming, and Goreki is just getting absolutely annihilated.
Feed versus the fake zebras. We're all tied up 1-1. Who is going to find themselves on match point? Who is going to get a little bit further into this tournament? Keep in mind, folks, we're doing a brand new thing. You have just entered in the middle of history. The longest series that has ever been played in Battle for Azeroth.